All right, good morning, people. I wanted to make a quick video about Devin Haney and the weigh-in yesterday against George Kambosos. All right, both fighters did make weight. All right, both of them were around 134. Okay, the fight is later tonight. I will be doing live commentary later this evening. Okay, I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it. I told you guys in the previous videos that I will be heading out to Philly today, and I'm going to find a way to either record out there or rush back home to do commentary here. You know, I prefer to do it here because I trust my own internet in my own home. So I know how to make the magic happen here. I'm really scary when it comes to doing live commentary videos elsewhere, unless I'm at my dad's house where you guys see me do commentary at plenty of times. All right, so look, the weigh-in was yesterday, and I believe all of the fighters from all of the other fights, I think everybody, every major fight, I believe everybody made weight. Okay, now Devin Haney, he's basically turned into a meme since last night. Okay, there's a lot of images on the internet floating around of him looking extremely drained. This is actually something that I've seen some boxing fans point out earlier this week. Even when he arrived with his father, people were pointing out how drained he looked even before the weigh-in. Okay, I did take notice, but I didn't notice how bad it was until yesterday at the actual weigh-in. Okay, his face was completely sunken in, especially in the area of his eyes. Even people are comparing it to that photo of some of the images of 50 Cent in that movie where he, I believe he had cancer and he was like, he lost a lot of weight. You know, we already know how big 50 Cent is. That this image is just floating around with Devin Haney's images from the weigh-in yesterday. Okay, I even tweeted about it last night, and I basically said to you guys, this will be Devin Haney's last fight at 135. And it's funny because I was just talking about this fight yesterday before the weigh-in, basically telling you guys that this is actually one of my top 20 most desired boxing matches of today. Vasyl Lomachenko against Devin Haney, which is what we're supposed to get next. I mean, now that Haney is signed with Top Rank, this is a fight that they made an agreement to have if the both of them are to win their next fights. All right. So now, this is not the first time we heard Team Haney saying that he struggled with weight at 135. I mean, the kid is growing, he's getting older, and as every fight goes on, he's gonna struggle to make weight at 135 with each fight. Okay, I even went back and looked at the weigh-in from the first Kambosos fight, and he looked much fuller in that weigh-in, even though Bill Haney has said that he's struggling to make 135, and he is. He should be fighting at 140. You know, honestly, he could probably fight at 147. You know, but at 140, he wouldn't be a big junior welterweight. He wouldn't be considered a big junior welterweight. All right. But anyway, let's talk about the real reason why I made this video, because I'm already seeing the comments, and it's really in regards to Lomachenko fight. A lot of people are already saying that this is already a built-in excuse for him not to fight Lomachenko. And I've heard this before. I heard it when Devin Haney was already talking about moving up after fighting George Kambosos. You know, the possibility because of the fact that they're struggling to make weight. I know if they said it, I know many of us want the fight. Trust me, I'm a big Devin Haney fan, but I'm also a big Lomachenko fan as well. In fact, I've been a Lomachenko fan for a lot longer because he's been boxing as a pro longer, right? So this is a thing. we're going to keep it as unbiased as we normally do. Devin Haney will not be fighting at 135 after this fight. All right. Because in the next fight, if he stays at 135 and fight Loma, not only is he going to look like how he looked yesterday, but he's going to look even worse. You know what I'm saying? It's going to keep getting worse from here the longer he stays at the division. I don't believe he's going to fight Lomachenko at 135. Now, if you guys want to slander him because it's a built-in excuse, it's not an excuse. It's actually a real thing when it comes to boxing and kids growing, because he's a lot younger than Lomachenko. Right? He's like 10 years younger than Lomachenko. He's still actually growing. He's naturally bigger. It is what it is. Now, as much as I want the fight, logic has to come into play at some point. And based on what we saw yesterday, he's barely cutting. I mean, I give him credit for being a professional and being that he is the champion at 135, the real champion, the undisputed champion. I give him credit for making weight. There's a lot of fighters that are not making weight, and I give him credit for doing it and seeing him doing it and seeing that he's actually really, really drained. I mean, he looked terrible yesterday. He did. All right. So I give him a lot of credit for still being a professional that he is and committing himself to making that weight and not getting stripped on the scales. You know, we just saw Shakur Stevenson miss weight. All right. And we knew that he was struggling to make 130. He's another guy that is growing very, very fast. He's 25 years old. You know, he's probably going to finish his career at welterweight or super welterweight. Same thing with Devin Haney. These guys are growing still. You know, so with that being said, we don't want excuses, or at least I don't. Let me speak for myself. I don't want to be the one that's making excuses. I don't want to see Devin Haney fight anyone, not just Lomachenko, and be at a disadvantage because they're drained. You know, because I don't want to use that as an excuse if the fight, if he loses the fight. You know, another thing that we're not like, we got to focus on is the fight that's happening today, because we're looking forward to the Lomachenko fight. He still has to fight tonight against a fighter that is probably going to be more aggressive, because he wasn't aggressive. Kambosos wasn't aggressive enough in the first fight. So I would like to assume that George is going to be much more aggressive here. All right. Regardless of Haney's jab, I'm sure that Kambosos is going to be a lot more aggressive. Now, being that Haney looks as drained, I don't know how he's going to rehydrate. I'm sure he's going to rehydrate well. I'm sure he's going to come in full, but it still can affect you to slim down that much in order to make weight. All right. He might not be as durable. He might not be as powerful. He might have stamina issues. These are all things that, you know, draining yourself like the way he is doing here. These are all things that can affect you during a fight. Stamina, durability, power, strength. These are all things that can affect you when you're draining yourself to make weight. You know, this is not a seasoned vet. This is a kid that's still growing. You know, and I don't like calling him a kid because he's a grown man, but at the end of the day, he's a young man. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, logic does come into play, and Lomachenko is leagues above of George Kambosos. All right. So yes, he has to do it. He has to take this fight today that nobody wants, because he agreed on it by contract. He would have never got the opportunity if he didn't agree with George's terms. So we have to get this fight today. Would have loved to see Haney fight Lomachenko back then, or in this very next fight here. You know what I'm saying? But again, Lomachenko, He has business to handle. He has a fight coming up. All right. He took off this whole year because of everything that's going on with the Ukraine. All right. He's another fighter that have lost fights, and there was a reasoning behind it. You know, he said he had shoulder issues in his loss to Teofimo Lopez. His fans, his hardcore fans, will sit here and tell you that that's the only reason why he lost the fight, you know, because he had shoulder issues. You know, there's other fans that are against Lomachenko and say, well, it's an excuse. We have to be consistent. And at the end of the day, let me ask you guys a question. If Haney says, I want to still fight Lomachenko and I'm willing to fight him, I want to still fight him, but I'm going to have to fight him at a catch weight because I can't make 135 anymore. Okay? After this one, I can't do it anymore. So I would like to fight Lomachenko still, but I want to do it at a catch weight, or I want to do it at 140, right? 138 at catch weight, 137 catch weight, or at 140. I'll still want to fight him, but it's going to be at 140. Lomachenko, will he do it? Is it going to be a duck if Lomachenko doesn't take that fight? No, because at the end of the day, Lomachenko is looking to become undisputed. He wants a shot at an undisputed fight. And that fight will not be for the titles because Devin Haney is going to be moving up to 140. He has to stay under 135 or at 135 in order to defend those titles. If he's going to fight Loma at an agreed weight above 135, it will no longer be for an undisputed fight. And that is what Lomachenko wants. As badly as we want the fight, because there's some sort of history there between the words that were exchanged between both parties and the whole franchise title situation, right? Being that Devin was his mandatory at one point. With all of that happened in the build-up for this fight, absolutely, of course we want to see the fight. I want to see the fight. I've been wanting to see this fight. But the reality is, if this guy is really weight drained, well, he is weight drained. It's not if. It's not an if. He is weight drained. If he decides to say, I'm not going to fight at 135 anymore. Okay, I can't do it. Not even for Lomachenko. You know? If Lomachenko decides to not take the fight at 135 or at 138 or 140, at the weight that Devin Haney is willing to take the fight at above 135, would it be a duck for Lomachenko? No. At this point, it will not be a duck unless Haney takes another fight at 135 against someone else, and that would not happen. Because they already agreed. I don't know if it's in writing. It's probably not in writing, but they agreed. That's part of the top rank deal that is supposed to happen. That fight, Lomachenko gets his shot if he is to win his next fight. All right, so look. Quit the fanboy shit. All right, at the end of the day, we want these fights. But we have to be realistic. And these boxers, like a Devin Haney, at the end of the day, as much as we want this fight at 135, I know Lomachenko fans want him to have his opportunity to fight for an undisputed title. Okay? We all do. But if Haney decides to move up, Haney has his whole career ahead of him. Okay? He's not going to fight Lomachenko with a disadvantage going into the fight. He's not going to do it because Lomachenko would be his best opponent by far. He's not going to fight that guy at a disadvantage. In order for Devin Haney to win the fight, he would have to be at his absolute best. Okay? So if he wins tonight, and I'm actually more concerned about tonight more than anything, against George. I'm more concerned about tonight's fight. But if he is to win this fight against George, which most of us are expecting, if he wins, then then we can focus on the Lomachenko fight. But I'm telling you now, we're most likely not going to get the fight. Simply because Haney's not going to stay at 135. And Loma is most likely not going to fight him at above 135. I don't believe he will. But we'll see. Maybe they could get a catch weight going. You know, I think the catch weight thing makes the most sense because Devin Haney is naturally a bigger man, but he cannot make 135 anymore. And even if he could, he would be even more drained than he was last night. And you don't want to be, you want to be at your best if you're going to fight Lomachenko at the end of the day, right? I wouldn't even have that as much interest in a fight if he would fight him at 135. I would give him a lot of props for doing it because it's risky, but you're risking so much for you already are the champion, you know? It was already a risk to go to Australia and fight George in his backyard and win those titles, you know, back there, where most likely if the fight was a lot more competitive, you wouldn't have walked away out of that arena with those titles. So you did that. Now, Lomachenko was a bigger fight for sure, but you know, at the end of the day, you have a long career ahead of you, right? The fight should be above 135. It's just that Lomachenko wouldn't be interested. But I'll say this, and I'll end it with this. If Lomachenko wouldn't agree to fight at above 135, the issue would also be like, if you stayed at 135, your next fight wouldn't be against Devin Haney, but it wouldn't be for an undisputed neither. You'll probably get a title shot, but you wouldn't be fighting for undisputed anyway. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to hang around and if you can't get a fight with Tank or any other, well, really Tank, because Tank or maybe Shakur Stevenson, that's what I'm saying. What are the other options? Because you wouldn't be getting you're not going to get an undisputed fight unless you fought Devin Haney. But if you fight him above, this is what I'm saying, like, there's not really many options out there. Are you going to fight Shakur Stevenson? That would probably be the other option, but that fight wouldn't even be undisputed. And to some people, that would be even more dangerous fight. You know, I think it would be. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I'm out of here. You guys have a great weekend, and I will see you later this evening. Okay, peace.